crappy. Slept very poorly last night. I've had indigestion for 12 hours. In a moment, I'm sure I'm going to make one of these kind of like burps, so forgive me. But yeah, the patterns that I currently have are all crap. my exercise patterns, my drinking patterns, my sleeping patterns, they're all garbage. And I have to change most of them. I would say my exercise and my family habits are pretty good. They could be better. But my eating habits, basically my consumption habits are all to excess, and they're all having disruptions in weight gain and not sleeping well or easily. So I'm going to be switching things up. What's today's date? 25th? My plan is to start September 1st. I'm getting things kind of the way I want them, and I think I'm going to do what's called the 75 hard, which is 75 days where you have to exercise twice a day outside, or at least one of them has to be outside. You have to take a selfie every day to monitor your progress. You have to follow some kind of diet. There's not a specific diet to follow, but I mean, when I'm doing the things that I know are the most helpful for my body, and in particular for my sleep, it's typically gluten-free, typically, small amounts of alcohol on an irregular basis. Typically, I'll try to have 12 hours between my last meal and my next meal. Drinking more water. Anyway, I think that's what I'm going to start on September 1st. And I think that will actually get me all the way through the Art of Peace. So by the time I finish the 75 hard, I'll also have finished the Art of Peace practice. I think. We'll see. But anyway, what I'm talking about here is my basic kind of structure for taking care of myself, which also facilitates my capacity to interact with my family and all of you. So I'm going to be going through the process. I'm looking forward to it because current patterns, while enjoyable, are enjoyable for 2 hours. So I get about 2 hours of enjoyment. And typically there's like between 4 and 12 hours of discomfort. So there's just this complete imbalance in enjoyment and sustainability, and so it's not productive, it's not effective, it's not efficient. I find on a regular basis I am having to punch through lethargy, headaches, now freaking indigestion. See, freaking indigestion. Disaster. But you got this. It is all good. So let's train. I'm actually teaching a 4 Bells training today to 2 instructors, Armor Down instructors, as a matter of fact. And this is going to be something that I'm going to be offering for any of you all. If you want to become Armor Down certified and be a trainer inside of our programs, our online programs, this is how you can do it. So learning how to do this is cool. And we're actually going to be setting up a Armor Down Mindfulness group on Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. on Zoom. We're going to make September just open for everyone. It's going to be absolutely free, but starting in October, there will be a membership. So keep a lookout for that. First bell. Get yourself set. Follow your cues for comfort. Are you aware of your cues yet? What cues you to feel safest? Externally, where do you need to put yourself? What kind of lighting do you like? Relationship to windows, etc., etc. Internally, what things need to be settled in order for you to be settled? Do you have to account for a back sensation, a leg sensation, a knee sensation, an ankle sensation? Whatever. It's your cues. But are you aware of them now? Do you know what they are? And if I asked you, could you explain what they are? And are you following them? Are you listening to your body? Okay, let's get into step one, bell one. Okay, let's look for straight lines. Straight lines don't really exist in nature, but straight lines are very much a sign of human kind of creation. Straight boards, straight beams, straight edges. Once you give your eyes their due, shut them down, go to sound. Just monitor how many sounds are around you and where are they. Make a clock. Set 12 as far out in your imagination as where you hear the farthest sound. And then start placing other sounds on the clock in relation to you being at the center. Now ask yourself, do any of the sounds represent anything that you're going to have to respond to? And if that's all squared away, then go kind of armor down and let yourself go even closer in and notice your sense of touch. What are your hands doing? Where are your hands touching you? Are your hands on your knees? Have you not done anything with your hands yet? Are your hands turned down, palms down, or your palms facing up? How's the temperature? How do you know? Smell? Taste in mouth? Now for just a second, use your imagination to shoot your awareness up into the sky. So imagine shooting your attention 100 feet up in the air and looking down on you in the middle and wherever you've placed sound on your clock of awareness. You can kind of visualize where you are in relation to sound. For me, I've got, at 1 o'clock, I've got the sound of the refrigerator. Now, at the furthest edge of my awareness, which is where I set the edge of the clock, is out in the yard with the bird. And there's a bird about 100 yards past where the refrigerator is. So that's at 1 o'clock. So there's 2 layers at 1 o'clock. And so when I shoot my attention up 100 feet in the air and look down, I see in order a bird. I don't know what bird is. I'm just picturing a bird. And then I've got the refrigerator, and then I've got me. So I'm imagining myself. Now I'm picturing how I'm aligned, right? So I'm looking at myself, and I'm just making a kind of a guesstimate of how I look. And so now I'm going to pull my awareness back down into my body, coming very, very down. Now I'm going to go directly under myself to begin bell 2. So you're thinking about this in the context of the steps, right? The steps to become completely present, aligned, and engaged in the present moment through the breath. So now I'm going to go straight underneath myself. I'm going to visualize the ground beneath me. I've got the cushion underneath my rear. I've got the board underneath that. I've got the concrete underneath that. I got the dirt underneath that. So I'm very, very well rooted. And then from that deep root, I'm going to go into my pelvis. Now I'm setting my pelvis, following my comfort cues to establish the base of my spine. Now, part of my new attention is to recognize the kind of the very bottom of my pelvis, not the bowl, the top of the bowl, which I typically pay attention to, but the bottom of my pelvis, which are the sit bones. So I'm going to imagine those sit bones kind of grounding into the cushion, and I'm going to feel like a bird perched on a wire. I'm going to be kind of perching my pelvis on those sit bones. If you don't know what sit bones look like, you need to take a look at them to get a visual for yourself. But the sit bones can separate sideways. They can kind of spread out. I'm going to spread those out, and then from that attention, I'm going to move up to my core, following comfort cues. Any tension, any holding, you want to let go. Let go to let up. Let go to let up. And let your spine up, up, up. Heart space, shoulder blades. Now, if you just pull your shoulder blades back and down and together, the tiniest little bit, what happens? Come to throat, top of the head. Now, jump back up 100 feet up. Jump back up 100 feet up and look down. Look at your alignment now. Imagine your head is balanced on top of the spine, which is balanced on top of both sit bones. Everything is balanced and aligned, alert and relaxed as we move into bell 3. Breath. Go inside completely now. Looking for beingness, simply being with what's happening right now. And if something happens where your mind runs away, the only thing to do or to worry about is just bring it back. Bring it back to the center of your focus, which is the breath itself. Just bring it back over and over and over again. Recenter on the breath, recenter on the breath. And what you might start to experience is an immersion into the moment, an immersion into the moment where things are quieter and slower and your thoughts become more transparent, and what shows up is just the present moment itself. Just being with serenity, ease, quiet, peacefulness. When things show up, you just watch them and then come back. Watch them, then come back. Put an offering for training from teacher Daniel Hickman. And in it, he uses a picture of the Buddha surrounded by temptation. And there's the Buddha sitting in the middle of this image, just absolutely serene. All the temptations, all the things, all the materialism, all of it is just right outside of his awareness. But his awareness is just on the breath. And everything else is incapable of doing anything more than capturing his attention for a moment, and he comes back to the breath. And ultimately what happens is, as everything tries to capture your attention and fails over and over and over again to capture it, you start to fade, become more transparent. So kind of stay in your chilled out state if you want, and just take a listen to this. So we're on 32. The 30-second stanza is as follows. Economy is the basis of society. When the economy is stable, society develops. The ideal economy combines the spiritual and the material, and the best commodities to trade in are sincerity and love. So the things that jump out at me from this stanza are society. So it's our interactions. The basis of society is the interactions that we create, that develop our livelihoods and our beingness. So that's where he combines spirituality and material, right? So the way we interact with each other isn't just selling stuff. The selling of stuff, the buying of stuff is necessary. You can't not do that stuff. You can't not eat, etc., etc. But it's not the only thing. Materialism is not the only thing. There's also spirituality, which is the connections to the things that are bigger than the individual. So those things are fundamental, and when they are operated in a kind of stable way, it's very important. A stable way, there's growth. So I talked about earlier, what I'm doing right now is not sustainable. So I am currently not falling behind, which is good, but I'm not growing. And if I continue down this path, that leads to demons. Like, that's what the demons do. The demons demarcate the most unsustainable aspects of our behavior. So once you've reached the demons, you're like, woof, I'm in an unstable place, and I've got to pull back. And so in a sense, that's where the demons actually provide a utility. They're not simply bad. They represent the most unsustainable expressions of the inner and outer world. So there's absolutely a correlation between what's going on in society and whether or not it's sustainable. And arguably, what's going on currently in society, which is not simply of our own making, but it is absolutely our response to what's going on, is that it's unsustainable. And so the demons are showing up, and they're showing up in all these kind of wacky ways where you're just like, oh my, for real? You have to account for that? And the demons are as sophisticated as they have to be to capture your undivided attention. That's just the way they work. And so anyway, the way you keep the demons at bay, mean, it's really something that you have to think about and have to work at, is an economy that trades in sincerity and love. So sincerity and love is essentially trading in trust and goodwill. Trust and goodwill. Trust in the fostering of goodwill. So if you can trade in trust, then that means you can build into structures. You can be built into the structure of anything, material or spiritual, and people will trust you, and then you become part of that. So you can, essentially, a buddy of mine named Noah described it as getting in the way of others' success. So you just position yourself as a asset for anything doing whatever it's doing, and once that asset realizes, or once that thing realizes that you complement what it's trying to do anyway, then you're part of the team. And if you're sincere and honest, then there's no reason not to keep you around forever, right? Because you're facilitating something and people trust you. So sincerity, right? Then there's love. Love is about taking care of everybody. And love and honor are very, very tied together, because you receive love by giving it. And it's very much like honor. You receive honor by giving honor. It's all about putting your goodwill out for those that can use it the most. And when you do that, it comes back in ways that are just unimaginable. And the reason why I say unimaginable is because it's the foundation, this basic idea that love fosters, conquers all, is the root of almost every religious tradition. And they all point to the same energy. And that energy is love, and that energy is arguably life itself. And if you find a way to participate in an economy through the sharing of that, or the commodification of that in a way that is sincere, then arguably you've created a pattern that's very sustainable. Now, if you take that out of the economy, right, the scaled version, and just look at it yourself, how do you interact with your own life, your own personal, mental, material, and spiritual world with sincerity and love? Well, first, you got to be honest with yourself. And so me being honest with myself about my consumption and not making excuses for why, it's some other reason. It's not what you're eating or drinking that's causing these disruptions in your sleep patterns and your indigestion and why you're gaining so weight. That's not it. It's got to be something else. So that's that. And then the second piece is love, which is you have to take care of the parts of yourself that are vulnerable. Right? That's the most vulnerable people. An economy that's stable takes care of the most vulnerable people and is honest and transparent. So to do the same thing for yourself is to recognize your vulnerabilities and not deny them, not cover them up, not hide from them, which is all about this language I've been using, preparing for demons, or just preparedness, which is an acknowledgement. It's an acknowledgement that they're there. Not a fearfulness, not but an acknowledgement. And that, look, you got to contend with this stuff. There's just no getting around it. You have to do it. And if we don't do it, we run into situations where we're just like, fuck, damn it. We have to deal with losing really cool people. We have to deal with that and just know that if it could happen to them, it can happen to me, and it's just terrifying. So we have to contend with this on a very regular basis and in a very authentic way. That's what he's saying in the 32nd stanza. So it totally ties to society at large, but also to you as an individual. All right. I think that's it. Let's room me up. All right. Now, I will say this. I enjoy the ease with which I can stream to all these different platforms, but because I'm on Restream and instead of just Facebook Live, I don't get to interact with people as fluidly as I used to. So that's a little bit of a downer. So I don't see the pop-ups. I can't see when you interact with me. So sorry about that. but I do like the fact that I can get the content out, and to me that's the key, is providing that base of training that everyone can access every day, super easy, and then I'll complement the more face-to-face interaction with Tuesday night mindfulness group. All right, we got a lot. There's a lot going on, and we're gonna go into this winter, armor down. We are going into this winter ready for whatever shows up, and we're gonna have lots and lots of resources to bring to bear, and lots of growth and change and evolution will guide us through this winter, because this winter could be tough. All right, see you tomorrow.